Women in the first century church, pioneers, leaders, and supporters. In the New Testament, women played vital, visible, and often pioneering roles in the spread of the gospel. Far from being sidelined, they served as evangelists, teachers, deacons, apostles, prophetesses, financial patrons, and hosts of house churches. Their contributions were essential to the growth of the early Christian movement. The first evangelists. Scholars and theologians widely regard Mary Magdalene as the first evangelist, or preacher of the good news, in the New Testament. After the resurrection, Jesus appeared to her outside the empty tomb and explicitly commissioned her, "Go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God," John 20, 17-18. She immediately obeyed and proclaimed the risen Christ to the disciples. Because she was the first to announce the resurrection, she is frequently called the Apostle to the Apostles and the first official evangelist of the Christian era. Closely following her is the Samaritan woman at the well, traditionally named Fotini. In John 4, after her life-changing conversation with Jesus, in which he revealed himself as the Messiah, she left her water jar behind, rushed into her town, and told the people, "Come, see a man who told me all that I ever did." John 4:29. Her enthusiastic testimony was so compelling that many Samaritans believed in Jesus because of her witness, making her one of the earliest personal evangelists to reach an entire community. Key leaders and ministers. Several women held recognized leadership and teaching roles. Prisca, together with her husband Aquila, was a church planter and theologian. The couple hosted house churches in Ephesus and Rome. Paul consistently listed Priscilla's name before her husband's, an unusual honor, showing her prominence. Most notably, she and Aquila explained the way of God more accurately to the eloquent preacher Apollos, Acts 18:26, correcting and instructing one of the most gifted teachers of the day. Phoebe served as a diakonos, deacon of the church in Cenchreae. Paul commends her in Romans 16:1-2 as a benefactor and trusted emissary. She carried Paul's letter to the Roman church, likely reading it aloud and explaining its contents, which underscores her authority and capability. Junia is greeted by Paul in Romans 16:7 alongside Andronicus as outstanding among the apostles. Modern scholarship overwhelmingly affirms that Junia was a woman and a highly respected apostolic leader in the early church. Financial benefactors and hosts. Women of means provided crucial practical and financial support that enabled ministry to flourish. Lydia of Thyatira, a successful merchant of expensive purple cloth, became Paul's first convert in Europe. Acts 16. She used her wealth and large household to finance Paul's mission and opened her home as the first house church in Philippi, creating a strategic missionary base. Mary, the mother of John Mark, hosted a large house church in Jerusalem. Her home served as a central gathering place and prayer headquarters. It was there that the church was praying when Peter was miraculously released from prison. Acts 12:12. Joanna, Susanna, and other women, Luke 8:1-3, traveled with Jesus and the 12, using their own resources to support the traveling ministry. Joanna, wife of Chusa, steward to King Herod, brought high social connections and significant financial backing, demonstrating that Jesus' movement was sustained in part by dedicated female donors. Proclaimers and co-laborers. Other women exercised public spiritual gifts and partnership in the gospel. The 4 daughters of Philip lived in Caesarea and were recognized prophetesses. Acts 21:8-9. As unmarried women holding the office of prophet, they delivered divinely inspired messages to the Christian community. Euodia and Syntyche were valued ministry partners in Philippi. Paul described them as women who contended at my side in the cause of the gospel. Philippians 4:2-3. Though he urged them to reconcile a disagreement, he fully affirmed their faithful co-labor in evangelism. Together, these first-century women formed the backbone of the early church. They proclaimed the resurrection, taught theology, planted churches, managed finances, hosted believers, prophesied, and labored alongside the apostles. Their stories remind us that from the very beginning, the gospel advanced through the bold faith, gifted leadership, and generous service of women as well as men. Start the conversation. Follow, like, and subscribe.